Okay, guys, nice to see you all here today. I'm glad you could all make it. Um, Today we're going to be talking about the Holocaust. But before we get into the PowerPoint, I want you to discuss with your table groups the three questions I handed to you on your way in. They are: what do you think that there was a better option for Nazis besides the final solution? If so, what do you think they could have done? The second one is: why might people have blamed an entire ethnic group for the problems of the country? And third, uh, why do you think ordinary German citizens went along with the final solution? I don't want, it doesn't matter if you know the answers right now or not. I just want your initial opinions. I'll give you guys about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we will reconnect as an entire class. Okay, it looks like there was a lot of good answers and thoughts out there. Um, so, the Holocaust, uh, in general, simply means a sacrifice by fire. But the Holocaust, as most people know it, and the Holocaust that we are, excuse me, are going to be talking about today, took place between 1933 and 1945, and it was the mass slaughter of Europeans, especially Jews, by the Nazis during World War II. And even though this date says it started in 1933, the height of it occurred between 1941 and 1945. So who were the victims? Besides Jews, homosexuals, gypsies, the disabled Slavic people, and Jehovah's Witnesses were all victims. We just talk about the Jews more so because they were the largest group, but basically anybody that Hitler deemed unfit or not part of the Aryan race, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Germans, could and often did become victims of the Holocaust. So the concentration camps. These were the camps where people were taken once they were removed from their homes. They were basically like prisons, and they were there to house the victims of the Holocaust. And you can see in these pictures that this was Auschwitz, the most famous of the camps. These camps were also called death camps because once they decided to eradicate or exterminate the victims, they were also killed here systematically. So Auschwitz. Auschwitz was the largest of the camp during the Holocaust. Prisoners were forced to give up all belongings. Children were often killed upon arrival. This was because the Nazis felt that children did not have any use, and rather than having them take up resources, food, space, they just killed them right away. Between 1,100,000 and 1,500,000 prisoners were murdered at Auschwitz. So at this point, can I see hands if you guys have any questions? And also, using your hand signals, let me know how you guys are feeling about what we're talking about and your level of understanding. So Auschwitz continued. Auschwitz was located near the German-Polish border in Upper Slovenia. The slogan at the front gate, which was in German, translates into "work brings freedom." But this is ironic because in many cases, for these people, work brought death. So at the camps, prisoners were forced to do hard labor. Prisoners were starved, forced to obey the Nazis, and were murdered if they disobeyed. So the prisoners were under guard all the time, and if they didn't do something that was asked of them, they would be shot right on the spot. Prisoners had no control of their lives, even if they wanted to use the bathroom. They needed to get permission. Many prisoners died as a result of incarceration and mistreatment. So you can see here, the picture on the left, that boy is severely malnourished and probably about to die. On the right, you can see how crowded the prisoners were packed together. So at the camps, prisoners were forced... Sorry about that, guys. I went to the wrong slide. So here are the barracks where the prisoners were forced to live in the camps. On the right, that's basically a pile of dead corpses of people who had died from starvation and exhaustion. So in the lower right, you can see the uniforms that these people were forced to wear, the vertically black and white striped uniforms, so they knew that they were prisoners. So prison doctors were also an important part of the prison camps, and they weren't there to help the victims. They did experiments. They were put into pressure chambers, tested with drugs, castrated, frozen to death. So not nice things. Children were the ones that weren't killed right away, were exposed to surgical procedures without anesthesia, so that was very painful. Blood transfusions, isolation endurance, so they would put these kids in a room by themselves and see how long it would take for them to go crazy. Injections with lethal germs, sex change operations, removal of arms and limbs. So basically they were guinea pigs. So ways of genocide. They were put in the gas chamber, and these were basically, they looked like showers. They thought they were just going to take a shower and get cleaned up, but instead of water coming out of the shower heads, gas killed everyone. They were then cremated. Starvation was also a major way people died. Malnutrition, you saw the picture of the person who was almost starved to death. Death marches, where they would just walk someone until they collapsed of exhaustion. So liberation of the camps. The camps were liberated in 1944. and 1945. The numbers. So 11 million prisoners were murdered. 6 million victims were Jews. Number of Europeans who survived was 3,546,211. And this goes on to explain the breakdown of the different ethnic groups. So now that you've had a chance to see the pictures and get a better understanding of what life was like for the Holocaust victims and survivors, I'm going to pass out a worksheet for you to do now and answer questions from your textbooks. Also, is there any questions about anything that we talked about today? While you guys are working, I will walk around.